Hello and welcome. I'm TNT, Taryn Tarver, and we're throwing out this Lifeline. This is Supernatural Lifeline Revelations, where you know that God unveils mysteries, revelation. We're transforming lives, making practical life changes with the biblical things of God. And here you can always expect to get the real deal and expect to have really amazing guests. Today, I'm very excited to announce that I get to finally interview. I've wanted for like a year, and he goes to my church. I'm really excited, Mr. Will Catlett. Smooth, man of God, actor, you name it, father, husband, minister. You carry so many hats. Former basketball player. You have a passion for basketball. I hear you. I see you over there. From where, remember the Titans around that area. That's where that was going on. As an actor, director, and photographer, I think it's so amazing that you use your creative ability and how God has really blessed you and enhanced you. So what was the transition between shifting into this career of acting from leaving leaving where you were and walking and embracing your calling?
Well, when I left Alexandria, Virginia, T.C. Williams High School is where I went to. And that's why you made the reference to Remember the Titans. My pursuit was to play basketball. That was my dream. And in that pursuit was, really trying to prove people wrong, not making the team. Kind of like the Jordan effect.
Michael Jordan.
Got cut 3 times. You want to prove people wrong. So you on this journey. But when I went to Iowa State, left Iowa, came to California, and I realized that basketball was just a vehicle to get me to California. I wasn't thinking about acting or anything like that. I had met a guy that had the whitest teeth I've ever seen. And I just asked him, how you get your teeth so white? He said, Crest White Strips. I said, okay, I'm going to pick some of those up. What do you do? He says, I'm an actor. I said, oh, wow. I always wanted to try that. Well, you should come to my acting class. And when I went to his acting class, it wasn't his class, the class he was going to, I said, wow, this is what I'm supposed to do.
What did you feel? What was the feeling? Because when you actually step into that moment, there's something, boom, like the light bulb goes off, like something hits and you're like, got it. What did you actually feel where you knew this is what I'm supposed to be doing, this is where I'm supposed to be?
I would say what I felt, I would describe it like this. It's almost like putting a bed frame together. They give you everything to go with the bed frame. But when you got to force and push and bang, it's not going into the right slot. So when I was in that acting class, I realized that it's an easy fit. Doesn't mean that the journey is easy, but it fits perfectly in there for me. And so I always pay attention to those things. Where do you fit?
Oh, that's
that
good.
fits so perfect for you.
Excellent.
That nobody can do what you do. And once I figured that out, I said, okay, well, this is my journey. And this is something that my dad always wanted to do.
Really?
So it's in the genes.
So
I didn't know.
Picked up the mantle from your father.
From my father.
Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, and my dad spent 44 years in the government, so it wasn't time taking care of the family.
Rather than pursuing your purpose and your dreams.
Yeah, so it just passed right to me, and I'm thankful for that.
Right?
Yeah, I'm thankful for it.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I love watching you. The first time I realized, I was like, oh, wait, Love is on Owen. He goes to my church. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, oh, because you know what's really funny, and you don't know this. When I first came to RCJC, I got a phone call from someone. I just randomly called the number, said I wanted prayer or somebody to reach out to me. And someone named Will called me and talked with me and prayed with me and was like, oh, but I'm not there. I think it was like, I'm in Texas or something. I think you were off somewhere doing something else, but you were making sure you were taking care of like things for, I don't know how. I was just like, wow. And I ended up going to the church and sticking. Of course, I never left. I mean, I got there, and it was where it was that feeling. I knew I was where I was supposed to be. It fit just perfect.
Yeah, I believe I was in Atlanta at the time.
And I never told you that we've actually got to go to the Bahamas together with your wife and your baby and our friends, and we've got to spend some time doing ministry stuff together. And so to see the man that you are, not just the actor, the producer, the photographer, and you are so down to earth, and you're so about helping people aspire to be who they're supposed to be. And I just think that's one of the most dynamic qualities. It's like you just are. Now. My one question is, so when you're acting and you're taking on a character role, and I always wondered about that, like, how do you, with getting into the character, how does that like happen? How do you actually fit in that role? Do you have to really see yourself as that person? Do you have to literally, what do you do? I mean, do you choose those roles wisely because of that, or what's that process like?
Bruce Lee said you have to be like water. This water could be a solid or it's a liquid. So you have to take the shape of the glass that you're in, and you have to let go and be so at peace in yourself in order to take on that role. Especially like I play a lot of roles being a married man that I'm kissing on women, you know, and I really have to feel that and go there, as well as the actress that I'm with, you know. But it's great to have a wife at home because you can debunk. This is why you see so many actors fall in love on set, because you're really doing those motions and you're tricking your mind to really believe that you're in love with that person. That's if you really want to do the art. But then you have to have, you know, blocks in there to bring you out of it.
Right.
To say, okay, this is not real once I'm done with the job. You know what I'm saying?
The job.
But to be there, you have to give yourself fully. God requires the same thing. Love God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and all your strength. What he's saying, be fully committed to what you're doing. And when you're fully committed to what you're doing, a sea of possibilities open for you.
Well, I love what, you didn't know this, but when we were in the Bahamas, your wife was doing my eyebrows. And I don't know where you, I think you had went to like the Bahama or something. You were gone over to you guys were doing something with Van. And so she does my eyebrows, and she was plucking me and taking care of me. And we had this full conversation where I was just like, so what's it like being married to an actor? She goes, well, most people always just want to know what's it like with your husband kissing on somebody else. And I started laughing. I said, well, now that you brought the topic up, but I wasn't really going to go there. And I love what she said. She said that because one of your co-hosts was went to our church, and there was a friend of ours, and they were there with us too, and she's with her boyfriend there. And she said that, you know, Michelle came to her. It was uncomfortable, and she had to help both of you guys to get in this position. And I was loving the fact that she understood her role, her position, and she said, you could have chosen anyone else. He chose me. He loves me. He wants me. He could have chosen anyone else, and he chose me. And she said, I had to help the both of them because she was uncomfortable, so I had to help them kind of get in this position to do what they were called to do. She said God gave him this gift, and I'm not getting in the way of that gift, but what a wonderful husband that you were to her, and the security that you bring her. And I loved that. I thought it was so beautiful, and I loved her trust in you, and I loved the way you love your wife, and I love how committed and dedicated you are to your family and your daughter. And it was such a wonderful thing just seeing and hearing from her. You know, so I'm hearing you now, but I had already had a conversation with her a year ago this month. And I thought, wow, because really Christians will say things like, because I started modeling at 7 with Nike, right? And it just followed me. And then being Miss Oregon and having, I did more commercial and print, and being a sports model, I've always was like, oh goodness, please don't come for me being a prophetess, and yet I'm a sports model. But I love the fact I knew God had called me to do this, and I was comfortable with what God called me to do. Now there was a time when God said, okay, now you're gonna hang that up now. You're gonna be who I called you to be as the prophet, and you're gonna kind of leave that over. And I see my legacy has passed to my daughter with the fitness thing and everything. But people would say things like, initially, like, how can you be a Christian and you can do that? And I used to be like, see, you're very religious-minded right now. How do you even save souls in there? How do you, I mean, think about the prayer that goes on behind scenes. Think about the prophetic, because I know you're prophetic, because I know you. And think about the names you call, the numbers you call. You're extremely prophetic. We're under a prophetic mantle, and it flows. And you're in there, and you're helping transform lives. Are you seeing on set that how God uses you as a ministry?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think to answer that question would be, you have Will, the man from God. You have Will, the actor. They're different, but they work together. And remember, Isaiah preached naked.
He did.
So some people are not going to get their deliverance from the pulpit.
Right.
They might get their deliverance from a handshake.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Shake my hand.
Oh, yes.
You know?
Oh, yes.
You know, they might get their deliverance from a handshake on set or a tap on the back. Sometimes it's not Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. They just need Will to show up and be in the atmosphere, and Jesus will be there because Jesus within me.
Yes.
So when I'm on set, I don't have to say, oh, I go to this church, oh, I do this. I just have to show up.
Yes.
And I just have to smile. Sometimes your smile brings deliverance.
I think people forget that.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you come with all that power, authority, all that love,
Yes.
all that prophetic, it comes with you.
Yeah.
Because you have become the embodiment of the gift.
Right.
So now, when they get you, they get all of you.
Yeah.
And they're like, there's something about you. They don't quite know what that thing is. How have you seen the favor of God move you into certain roles and different things, and then watch the purpose of that unveil? Have you been in that position where, like, you know, I know now, God, why you put me in this role. I know, God, now why you put me in this position, but you couldn't see it at the beginning. Have you seen that favor, the favor doors open where you've been at the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, and those divine connections are opening up for you, where now you realize why God is using you, and then the door opens up for you to minister? Or is it just kind of just unfold most of the time?
I've always saw it, and I've always seen it. It's because I know my prayer in my private time is, God, put me on jobs where there's an assignment for me. I know I can do the acting in my sleep,
Right.
but where am I supposed to be? Like when I was doing commercials, people would be worried about, they'd do a big national commercial, and they were worried about if it would run, if the commercial would run, or will I get edited out of the commercial. I never had that problem because of my prayer before I got the job. God, don't give me a commercial that I won't be in, that won't run.
Right.
So when I'm there, and I was on set doing a commercial, and a guy was saying that, man, I hope this run. I said, listen, I'm here. It has no choice but to run. So what you pray for in your private time and in secret, you will see it rewarded outwardly. So every job that I go to, I know that there's an assignment for me. Just like when I did, there's a show on HBO now called Lovecraft Country.
Okay.
And I have an episode on that show.
Okay.
And when I went to the audition, there was 2 other talented actors there. And I said to myself after I did the audition, any one of us could get this job. But then when I got to the set, and when I was talking to the barber, and he told me that his wife's wound's been closed for 6 years, then I knew only Will Catlett could have got this job to open his wife's womb.
That's right.
And now they have a baby boy, you know?
Okay.
So,
I love that.
You know, being of service and just being in that place, God taught me, like, yeah, it's many people that may be talented, maybe even more talented, but I will always put you where your assignment will flourish.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've always seen you as a natural born leader. Even when I heard your voice on the line, I didn't know your wife. I didn't know your situation. I didn't even know you were an actor. I knew none of these things. But then when you came, and you know, even to be trusted with the mic and to be on point, your discernment was keen, and it was good to see. And even how I saw you served your wife, it was such an awesome thing that I feel like this is just who you walk in as, and what you begin to possess the room and begin to walk in your authority and power. And that is such a gift that God has given you, and I can see it on your family. Even the ability to lead people and to guide them is really there, and it's prevalent. Currently, you have some recent work with films such as Charm City Kings and The Force of Nature, Black Lightning. What's your favorite? I mean, was it fun? Like, especially Black Lightning. Like, what happened here? What's going on?
I just love the cast of Black Lightning.
Right?
You know, and I love playing, dark characters. I don't have a favorite yet. I don't think I've played that favorite yet. You know, there's so much more for me to explore. But I do enjoy the roles that I play. My goal is to make you feel something, to make you connect with something. I don't want you just to watch me as your favorite actor. I want you to embody what I'm doing and feel it. You know, when I was doing Love Is, I remember telling Mara that this story is great, but if this story doesn't go beyond the screen and touch somebody physically, then we didn't create art.
So how do you select your roles usually?
I just
pray about it?
Well, not just pray. There are indications. You know, like Black Lightning, the character name is Lala, but his the young man that he jacks up in the show, his name is Malik. My nephew's name is Malik. So I always, you know, The Alchemist is my favorite book. So I'm always looking for the omens. Where are you, God? Where is the voice? Is this something I'm supposed to do?
Right.
And sometimes there are the indications, but the story is not there. So I'm like, this lines up, but this part doesn't line up. You know, so I choose it from there.
That's
It's like they choose me, actually.
What do you say your mission and your purpose is What do you think God has like specifically called you to do? Which you're one of our speakers for the encounter this year.
Yes.
And I don't know if you've been to any. Have you ever been to any encounters yet? You just heard about them.
Yeah, I just heard about them.
Yeah, Papa comes and shows out. They're amazing. The last few years have been really great. We've been doing this for a long time, but it's just the prophetic that Papa put on the word on it. It's really just released in our life. My spiritual father has just been such an added bonus because he's our spiritual father. You can see they're showing the flyer right now. We have some amazing actors, producers, speakers, preachers, revelators. We have chaplains. We have, it's a really great group of people. I could not have done this. Only the Lord could do it.
Yes.
And I was so glad that you actually were going to be able to participate because I know what a busy life and schedule you have. And so what do you feel that God has given you the message to the world?
My message is to unlock people. I unlock people. And I do it without trying. It's just the grace of God that's on my life. I just unlock people. You know, if you're around me, there's no way that you won't be able to excel, or if things are not working, they will begin to work. It's been like this since I was a child. I didn't know, like, everybody comes out to my birthday. You know, I've always been that glue, and I know that God has just given me the words to unlock people. And, you know, as I'm unlocking them, you know, I unlock myself too, because if I hang on to their key, I can't get more keys. You know what I mean? So it's you know, when I see people, I have no choice but to say what I see.
I love it. So, on a personal question, I love your wife. She's so creative. She's such a beautiful singer. I love her voice. She's creative. She's stylish. She's fun. She's confident. She's bold. She's tall. She's poised. She's a great mother. I love her. How did you know she was the one?
You know, I was actually, you want to know the truth?
She told me your guys' story, but I want to hear from you.
Okay.
Yeah. But tell me, what's the truth? What's the truth? Yeah, the truth.
The truth is, I had another young lady at the house that night.
I know she told me.
So that was the truth, you know, and I was thinking about, you know, dating her.
Right.
But when I met my wife, I said to myself, I never go get a haircut on a Friday. I just didn't go at that time. And I said, if she's there at the place that I saw her, I would ask her to dinner. And then if it's nothing, no harm, no foul, you know, I go continue whatever I was going to do with the other young lady, you know, as far as taking the relationship to another level.
Right.
And we sat down and she said, you know, who can cut your hair? Who can do this? Who can do that? Who can do... And I was like, hold on, wait a minute. I'm seeing myself across the table because the confidence that she had in herself.
Right.
And we ended up talking in the car for like 4 hours. And then we prayed and I said, you know, when I finally have met my wife, I would ask one question. Because I've been asking this question since I was 15 years old, is how did you know? But I asked her, what took you so long? And she said, I don't know, but I'm here now. And I was like, oh, well, we was kind of married from the car.
That's what she said. She's like, we knew in the car.
In the car,
And she was like, I said, well, how long did it take? I think she said it was 2 years after, or like something like that between.
We was engaged,
and then you got married.
4 months after, I believe, and then we were married 2 years after.
See, I was good listening.
You know what's beautiful about that story of living in your truth and your honesty, even though I had to break the news to the other young lady. You know what I'm saying? But she was able to find love in her life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So she didn't hold me up and I didn't hold her up.
I love it.
You know, we was able to come to a mutual agreement and say, hey, listen, you know, I'm being pushed this way. It has, and I made it adamant, it has nothing to do with you.
Do you guys
There's
hear
nothing wrong with you.
You know? I did a series this week, How to Break Up Properly.
Yeah.
And it was like, look, this has nothing to, I think New Edition did it really good. Sorry, you're not my kind of girl. You're so pretty. It's not your looks. It's not this. It's not the way that you carry yourself. Any man would want you. It's just that there's something else that's pulling you in this other direction. So it's like you being able to be mature enough, man enough, or woman enough, whoever's watching, to say, you know what? You don't have to make it messy. You don't have to make it a drama. It's just, look, I'm being pulled in another direction, which means God has something else other for you and for me. And you can still let them find what God has for them.
Yeah, and that's important for, you know, everyone that's out here that's an artist.
Right.
It's honesty. When you're honest in your work, when you're honest in your preaching, when you're honest in your life, it will transfer and people will be able to see it. We're mirrors. You know, so if you're not honest or you're dishonest with yourself, then it shows up. Yeah, and people can always respect an honest person.
I love this. I love it. And I like watching you guys. It was great watching you have your first baby.
Oh, yeah.
We're like, come on already with the baby. Like, let her drop. And it was great. She's such a sweetheart. Now, you just bought a brand new home.
I did.
How exciting. I loved it. I was like, you saw my message. I was like, how come I didn't get an invitation to sew into this blessing?
Right.
Matter of fact, I might still have to drop that because I'm believing for mine to hurry up and come. So, yes, such an awesome thing to like wait and get what you want and let God open that door and watch the miracle signs and wonders and make it happen.
Yeah.
But the community of people that are just so joyful for you, and the love that you share.
Well,
Talk about that.
It's their house too. You know, I'm just a steward over the house. You know, people see you on TV shows and movies, and they expect that your account has caught up to where your light is going.
Come on.
Doesn't mean it hasn't caught up just yet. It's on its way, but it hasn't caught up just yet. And one thing I've learned about God is that he would never embarrass you.
Yes.
And you have to let go of and make yourself of no reputation. Let go of your reputation so God can bless you. So there was already people ready to bless me and help us get the down payment for the home, but I had to open my mouth and call and ask. It was like a call-a-thon. I was calling everybody in Hollywood that I know. Hey, listen, you know, I got $24,600 to get us started in escrow. I need a little help getting out. And people were so willing to give.
I can't believe you didn't call me, Will.
I didn't know it. I mean, I just, you know, no hard feelings, you know, since I'm calling you now. You know.
But you know what's funny is our friends, because we have a similar group of friends, are all like that. We're all givers.
Yeah.
We're all sowers.
Yeah.
We all want to tap into, here, I need some of that.
Yeah.
And I love that. Yeah. Like, I was so excited. I think I read the testimony. I was like, I messaged you.
Yeah.
Will,
right.
How come I didn't get to be a part of this blessing?
Right. But then I talked about early on here is, you know, doing things in secret.
Yeah.
Now, what people do not know is that some of my other colleagues have already purchased homes. So when I walked into their homes, I came with my seed.
Come on.
And I said, listen.
Plant some seeds.
Here's my seed for my house. Went to another person's house. Here's my seed for my house, but as I'm sowing into their house. So I began to sow into other people's homes.
Yes.
And so that when it was time for me, that I had something in the ground so that I can bring forth a harvest. Because you can't reap where you haven't sowed it.
And I was telling my spiritual children, I have to teach you this principle because when you have an understanding of it, it will manifest in your life. So we've been buying our future for some time now. Amen. And we understand that our future is bright because we planted those seeds in the ground and we shall reap our harvest.
You shall reap your harvest for sure. And don't yell at the ground. Hey, when you coming up? You know, when the crop is coming, when is the house coming? Be at peace. Let the ground have its perfect place. Let the ground have its work. You know, but it will come at the right time. You know, when I have blessed others, it was at the right time.
Right.
When things came for me, it was at the right time.
The right time.
And you always want things to happen at the right time. You don't want to be out of time. You know. I
love it. I love this. Oh my goodness, this has been so joyful. I'm just so glad that you took the time to actually come. I appreciate that so much because I know how busy you are. I know how much stuff you have going. Even in this season, I want to say, like, you're talking about timing in seasons, being able to have the anointing of the sons of Issachar, being able to discern the time in the seasons. A lot of people during this corona pandemic, have noticed that God has showed up in mighty ways. Oh, yeah. You bought a house in the middle of a pandemic. God created other avenues for income to begin to rise up. Yes. He's been a provider, a way maker. In a sun-scorched land, you still blessed. And we hold to this word so wholeheartedly, but it's literally the people that we are connected to, all of them have prospered in this season.
Because God, David said it like this, I've been young and now I'm old. I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging for bread. So he's giving you what? A timeline. I've been young, but now I'm old. So I went through the trials and tribulations of life, and I've never seen the righteous forsaken or his seed begging for bread. So you already know that God is going to take care of you.
Absolutely.
And you learn that by experiences. So sometimes, even in your wounds, it's beauty in it.
Yeah.
Because the roots grow deep. Deep calleth unto deep.
Deep calleth
You
to
got to
deep.
get that deep water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So sometimes don't always try to cover the wounds. Let the wounds be exposed so God can bring the beauty out of it.
That's when I saw my best time in my life, when I just got kicked shame to the curb. I held my head up. I didn't feel like I needed to explain myself to anybody. I knew that as a prophet, that some of my life has been lived before others as God is viewing what's going on in that time, in that season, towards the people. As a prophet, go Hosea, go marry a prostitute. And he was setting an example.
Yes.
Go Ezekiel, you're not going to be able to mourn your wife. I'm taking the apple of your eye. And so then you have Isaiah who's walking, preaching naked. Like, a prophet is going to be very misunderstood unless you have discernment and you understand who they are in Christ. So I finally got an understanding of that, and I was just like, all is well. I signed up for this in heaven, and I'm here now, and I'm on my journey. And as soon as I hit that point, guilt, condemnation, shame, everything was just defeated, and I just walked right into my purpose. So I understand exactly what you're saying.
There's no hug like the Father's hug.
Isn't it beautiful?
There's no love like the Father's love. And sometimes you just have to be in your quiet time, just close your eyes and just imagine God hugging you and telling you how much he loves you and appreciates you. You know, when you allow those things to happen, it's easier and you can see better through life, because you're supposed to see through life. Life is not just supposed to happen to you. You know what I mean? You were here to affect change on the earth.
Mr. Will Catlett, actor, producer, photographer, father, husband, awesome man of God, bringing purpose, unlocking people. We're here. You're going to see him at our encounter this year, December 3rd and 4th. So make sure you can get your tickets online. You can also come in person. We will be in Long Beach this year. We have an amazing dynamic lineup for people to impart your life. You will never be the same. Remember that your timeline is somebody else's lifeline. I'm Prophetess TNT, Taryn Nicole Tarver. Follow us on social media and tag, share, and invite. Have a great day.